Random House Audio presents The System, The Glory and Scandal of Big-Time College Football by Jeff Benedict and Armen Keteyian. Read for you by Mark Deakins. Prologue. Game on. From the blimp's eye view high above sold-out Sun Life Stadium, the helmets looked like metallic gold dots, bank after bank of 1,000-watt halide lights, adding an almost ethereal glow. As the view compressed, more colors came into focus. First the crimson, then the white, and finally the navy blue. It was January 7, 2013, a perfect night for football in South Florida. A balmy 73 degrees with winds out of the northeast at 5 miles per hour. A record crowd of 80,120 erupted as 4 wings of blue paratroopers stuck landings on the field. Another 26.4 million fans were tuned in at home, making it the second largest audience of any program in cable television history. On paper, the Discover BCS National Championship game was a match made in football heaven. Number 1 and undefeated Notre Dame, 12-0, against number 2 and defending national champion Alabama, 12-1. After 6 weeks of analysis and hype, the big boys were finally getting down to business. It had all the earmarks of a storybook ending to a wild, crazy roller coaster of a season that had driven the popularity of college football to dizzying new heights. For 14 consecutive Saturdays in the fall of 2012, college football owned the sporting public's attention from noon till deep into the night. Click, and there was Johnny Football, on his way to Johnny Heisman, performing magic tricks for Texas A&M. Click, and there was Bill O'Brien's gritty Penn State squad rising from the ashes of the soul-crushing child abuse sex scandal to go 8-4. Click, and there was Ohio State, bruising its way to an undefeated season while barred by NCAA penalties from competing in a bowl game. Click, 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 click. And there was Oregon, Stanford, West Virginia, and K-State taking their turns on the national stage. Off the field, the news wasn't so good. A dozen programs were on probation for major NCAA violations, including USC, Ohio State, Tennessee, Boise State, LSU, and Texas Tech. Graduation rates for African American players continued to lag behind, highlighted by 2011 national champion Auburn, where only 49% of black athletes graduated, compared with a majority of white players. A 2012 study found that student athletes in top football programs are more accurately athlete-students, averaging 41.6 hours per week preparing for football, compared with 38.2 hours in the classroom. The economics of college football were upside down too. The latest figures showed only 22 of the 120 top-tier programs broke even or made a profit in 2010-2011. If anybody looked at the business model of big-time college athletics, they would say this is the dumbest business in the history of the world, said Michigan's athletic director Dave Brandon, the former CEO of Domino's Pizza. You just don't have the revenue to support the costs, and the costs continue to go up. Another study released in 2012 found that Football Bowl Subdivision, FBS, schools spent more than $91,000 per athlete, compared with just over $13,000 per student. Yet students across the country faced steep tuition hikes and increased fees. As colleges and universities absorbed painful cuts in funding and went deeper into debt to stay afloat, a nationwide building boom, an arms race, was underway when it came to stadiums, premium seating, weight rooms, and football facilities. At the same time, a seismic shift in conference realignment had schools bolting conferences and abandoning long-standing rivalries in order to capture a greater share of the multi-billion-dollar television contracts. I don't know where this all ends, NCAA President Mark Emmert said at the IMG Intercollegiate Athletics Forum in early December 2012. But it does make clear that those moves are, if not entirely about money, predominantly about money. The result, said Emmert, was the erosion of friendship and trust that existed for decades among college presidents, athletic directors, and conference commissioners. "I really don't know what to do, but I'm really concerned about it. Really, really concerned about it," said Emmert. "It's not healthy at all." As for the players, they have paid a heavy price for what has become a year-round job. A staggering 282 players from 8 of the 10 Bowl Championship Series BCS conferences and major independents suffered season-ending injuries. And those were just the officially reported ones. Plenty of other players were carted off practice fields, never to return to action. Meanwhile, in March 2013, researchers at the Cleveland Clinic released a study showing that college football players are likely to experience significant and long-term brain damage from hits to the head, even when they do not suffer concussions. The findings were based on blood samples, brain scans, and cognitive tests performed on 67 college football players before and after games during the 2011 season. As the debate over the long-term effects of head injuries in football continues to escalate, it is now an established fact that college football players who never make it to the NFL are at risk of being diagnosed with degenerative brain disease caused by repeated head trauma. But none of that mattered as Notre Dame and Alabama squared off for the national championship on ESPN. The last time the two storied programs had met with so much on the line was the 1973 Sugar Bowl, remembered for the gutsiest call of Irish head coach Ara Parseghian's career, a 3rd and 8 pass from the shadow of his own end zone, enabling the Irish to run out the clock and outlast Paul Bear Bryant's Tide 24-23. Epic. 4 decades later, Brian Kelly and Nick Saban had come to power. Kelly, in his 3rd year, was a former women's softball coach at Assumption College before making a name for himself at Grand Valley State University in Allendale, Michigan. 6 hugely successful seasons at Central Michigan and Cincinnati helped propel the son of a Boston politician to South Bend. Kelly had more than a bit of the Irish in him and, like his father, was wise to the media game. He offered smooth, thoughtful answers to almost every question, even ones he had heard for the 3rd time in an hour. He also spoke of the importance of painting a vision of success at Notre Dame. "Your program is defined by consistency, and Alabama is that model," he said 2 days before the championship game. "I concede that. It's where we want to be." Saban, on the other hand, was the reigning heavyweight champ of college coaching, 60-7 since 2008, and gunning for his 3rd national title in 4 years and his 4th in the last decade. His way had become the way in the game, melding body and mind through the process into a new breed of built-by-Bama athlete. Saban had his players hardwired to perform at their best when it mattered most. All of this had helped propel Saban to the front of the roaring, seemingly unstoppable race in coaching salaries. He had earned north of $5 million in salary, bonuses, and other perks in 2012, just ahead of Mack Brown at Texas. By July 2013, at least 79 head football coaches made $1 million or more annually. 52 made more than $1 million, while 16 cleared $3 million. Assistant coaching salaries had routinely reached into the high 6 figures or more. Athletics has gotten so disproportionate to the rest of the economy and to the academic community that it's unbelievable, said Dr. Julian Spalholz, a distinguished professor of nutrition and biochemistry at Texas Tech. The students pay more tuition, the faculty pay for not having a pay increase, and the football coach gets a $500,000 raise. I think that speaks for itself, doesn't it? Well, not exactly. College professors have tenure, and they are not expected to single-handedly fill stadiums in order to offset the 8-figure investments being made these days in stadium facilities. On the other hand, a college football coach may be the most insecure job in America. Between 2009 and 2012, 72 Division I head football coaches were fired. Auburn's Gene Chizik was among those let go in 2012, following a winless season in the Southeastern Conference, SEC, and just 2 seasons after
Sample complete. Ready to continue?